Welcome to Dragon City, Macau. Nighttime is definitely my favorite time in this build. I really wanted to make sure that the lighting was correct and also colorful. So to achieve a bit of a colorful mix of lighting, I used two color tones of light, mainly being blue white and warm white, to kind of mix in so that the color kind of fades and gives a bit of a gradient to give it some more of a 3D feel. In this build, I also wanted to respect the original building in Macau, the Grand Lisboa. And because Macau is known for gambling, I also wanted to focus on richness. So I put a diamond ring here with a big jewel on it, just to kind of symbolize the wealth of the region. Down here, we can see as things get a little more relaxing that there's some sailboats here. So I wanted to also include some extra water to make it feel like this is more of a theme park. And you can see over there, there's more of a natural view. Coming over the mountain, we can see a dome here as well as these beautiful colored trees. I wanted to sort of have some more seasons, so I went and put some different colored trees and flowers around the area. Also, because it's a city of dragons, I really wanted to make sure that there are various dragons in the city that you can find and discover, and I worked really hard to make sure that they blend well in the environment and the surrounding settings. Here we have a few Empire State Buildings, and as we come down here, we can see yet another dragon circulating this garden here full of Japanese maple trees. Now over here, you can see these pyramids. These pyramids come from an artist who wants to make a pyramid city in Japan. Here we can have the flower towers, and those are the two dragons crossing over the water. So you can definitely try to fly through those as well as just enjoy the view from these flowers. I feel this just adds a little more realism, as often pilots will watch out for these red lights on top of tall buildings to make sure that they don't smack into them. Coming over here, we also have this dragon ring that I was able to find online, and I'll link the original artist below, but I just thought this was such a cool building concept, especially with the jewels inside, which could be potentially windows. And it's also lit, so it's more fun for players to fly through. With this build, I really wanted to go to see what kind of other buildings are possible, not only in a virtual world, but possibly also in the real world. Above the Eiffel Tower and next to the Kingdom Tower, we have this 1 kilometer tall dragon. And I really worked hard to make sure that the dragon would be intertwined and woven into the city. So you can see here that it goes around this main intersection here in front of the main casino building. And it also goes over the water, and if you have a car in this game, you could even fly under the dragon in the streets, and then voila, you're suddenly on the other side of it. And then at the top, I put this floating kind of like a jade moon up here, and I made sure that it was well lit for it to be seen. I just wanted to make it feel as if there's a giant moon and kind of give it a little bit more of that magical feeling without being too overpowering. So now I'm going to focus on some of the smaller details in this build. Here we have this little bit of like a swimming pool and a ship on it, and I just imagine that if people were hiking here, they'd be able to enjoy the natural scenery being inside a mountain, kind of just like locked in nature, and then when they turn their head, suddenly they're in this futuristic city, but it's also breathable, full of trees, shopping malls, and lots of luxuries, a little bit like Singapore. And then when you go down to the lower levels, you can also see the original towns here, and we kind of have this like undercity area. So if you're really brave, you could try to fly under here. And then we'll just go up to the platform here. Almost as if this little dragon here is kind of like fighting up or standing up against the big dragon towering above it. So we kind of have this like scene here where the big dragon's claw is about to like claw onto the small one, And the big dragon is kind of like just going up over through these like city blocks. And then you have like the statue, the person who might be in fact controlling the dragon. So that's quite interesting. Finally, we have the Eiffel Tower, because why not? Eiffel Tower is just beautiful, you know? Put a swimming pool up in the top for people to enjoy the natural view or city view. And Eiffel Towers just look great. With this dragon, I also wanted to respect the water flow here so that you can still imagine that there's lots of water here. There's still trees. So it's still breathable even though you are surrounded by giant dragons, and then the ships would be able to go under the dragon's body. So I really want to provide different kinds of views to make it feel like you can have any kind of experience you want in the city. I also put a dragon here on the roadway, kind of fun to drive through, and he's kind of like going through a building, kind of trying to eat another building. I just wanted it to feel like it would be kind of cool if like there were some people living inside of his mouth, you know, and then driving into his mouth under the teeth. So that's kind of a nice touch right there. And then just to enjoy the beautiful view. Finally, I also added some of these layers here, kind of as if the city is expanding. Maybe there's some walkways that people can walk through, just to give it a little bit more depth. And then for this bridge here, I also added just some wings around it to kind of give it a little bit more symbolism and make it so that the city doesn't just completely just drop off. So it more kind of fades away. This added city here, as you can see if we go into it, there are also these platforms here in the pyramids full of nature that you could try to fly through if you want. And I do believe that these platforms here are landable, but not everything is collision turned on. Finally, we have yet another Dubai Creek Tower, and I put some buildings kind of around this like low hill of a mountain, just so it kind of feels a little more organic and lines up with the city. And there you can see that's the Dubai Creek Tower. Yes, I have copied a few of them, but I've tried to make them different sizes and different rotations and slight variations just to make them kind of blend in a little bit more and not look so copy-paste, such as the Empire State Buildings there. And then, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this build, and that if you like, you can subscribe and see more like this. I am always trying to improve the build quality, add challenges for players to fly around. And if there's a place that you would really like to visit and see what it could look like in the future with some like a fantasy kind of imagination, then do feel free to subscribe and recommend anything that you'd like to see. Anyways, that's the 1 kilometer tall dragon city in Macau. Some of the buildings are obviously higher than a kilometer, but you get the picture, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Cheers.